Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan here for my daily video, and our topic today, I have a little challenge for you. Something, it's not hard to do. You can take it as far as you want. I'll give you an easy part and then something you can do a little bit more of, and it's all about thread. Because what I want you to do is look at your thread and for two things. First, let's do the easy one. So look at your thread and find spools like this. Do you have spools like this that are like almost finished? They're almost finished. So run these off on your bobbin or put them in the top and just do your piecing with them for the rest of the day or until they're gone. And use them up. Get these little partial spools out of your collection where they're taking up space. Then part B of this one is, do you need to reorder this color? Like, that is actually why I have these two spools out, is that I need to reorder these colors. They're colors I use fairly often, and so I am almost done. So I need to reorder. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is look at your thread and see if there's some that you have never tried. So, you might have bought a spool of thread at a show and you've never put it on your machine and tried it. So today would be a great day to go ahead and get a spool out that you've been meaning to try and use it. If it's for piecing, if it is for maybe some hand embroidery or machine embroidery, machine quilting, you got it for trying that. Just make a little mock-up and try it out. See if you like it. See if it does what you wanted it to do. If it's like a variegated thread that you got and you haven't stitched it out to see what it looks like, what the change of thread color looks like, make a little sample so that you can try that out. It's fun to take the time, because we often just zoom along and we never get back to those things that we were so excited about. You may have seen it demoed maybe last year, well, not maybe beginning of last year, or you may have seen it demoed years ago and you haven't used it yet. So okay, that's your assignment for today, is to grab a spool and try it out. So like this is, here I'll show you, Orifil has a bunch of different spool weights. So you may have, even though you might have the manufacturer that you use all the time, maybe you bought some different spool weights and so you haven't tried them out yet. So Orifils are color coded. So the orange is 50, which is regular sewing weight. I have other videos where I've talked about the weights. 40 is the one weight up. It's one weight thicker, but it's not that much thicker. So this is really cool if you haven't played around with 40. There's 12, which is, you would really be able to see the difference in the thickness, and that's on the gray spool. The 40 was on green. The gray is 28. The 12 weight is very thick. It's like a hand pearl, but you can put it on your machine. You can do different things. There's a whole bunch of stuff you do to work with thicker thread, like bigger eye needle, and what do you put in your bobbin. So those are things to play around with. Orifil also has an 80 weight, which is thinner than the 50 on the orange spool, and the 80 comes on these wood spools like this. This is used by a lot of people for hand applique. It is quite gorgeous and really sinks into your fabric beautifully. Some people will also blanket stitch with it. You could top stitch with it, your applique. It is really lovely. So there you go, a little peek at some of the threads that I have. I have a lot of Orifil thread. And like for me, I haven't played around with top stitching with an 80 weight, like on an applique shape. When we were doing the little dog and the cat for the home that would be another thread I could try out. I could, and I don't remember whether I did that or not. I did some testing for them when they were doing this thread weight, but I think I was mostly testing the regular blanket stitch with it. So I have some other tips for you today. Because things happen. Like if things happen, I have to make myself a note so I could tell you. So maybe you won't do it, because I did it not once, but twice. So what did I do? I am going to show you this note first. This note says, change the stitch, because what happened? Can you imagine? I probably did not change the stitch. That's why I have a note like that. So stitching the elephants, my Ellie elephants, the darling sweet elephants are coming along. So I have the wave stitch that I'm doing, and I am down to halfway on the bottom. So I'm all the way to here. So I just have that much more. Now, what did I do? Not once, but twice. I sat down to the machine. I'm like, oh great, I can just do a few rows, and then I have this other thing I got to do. So I did one row. I forgot to change the stitch to the wave stitch. So twice I did a straight line of quilting. This did not make me happy, but there you go. That's what I did. So then I was like, I've got to pin it. So I have this now, which is clipped. I'm going to put it right back on there. It is clipped to the quilt so that when I sit down next time and I'm just la la la, I can go ahead and say, oh yeah, I have to change the stitch. Okay, the other thing I got done, which I don't think I showed you, was for the flower quilt. Here, I'll show you the flower quilt again. The flower quilt that was from one of the button clubs, and then I added to it. Remember, I had it on the wall and I was adding. So there's the flower quilt that I was adding to. I have the backing done. So I did, this is what I ended up with. And I am going to quilt this one. I'm probably going to quilt this one myself. I'm not 100% yet, but here we go. So I did some strips on the top, just so it's big wide strips. So these are basically some green fat quarters and the rest of the border. This is the rest of the border fabric. And then I went through my stash just finding green fat quarters that I had that I could use up. So I got the whole backing done for that guy, which is really nice. So he needs basted, rather, because I don't want it to go into Topville. Topville is like yesterday when Molly had, her Area 51 UFO bin, so that's where that would go if it stays at top. If I get it basted, then there's a high probability it goes on the, I'll be starting to quilt it. Cozy Things is my other one I need to base, so I'm going to get that one out at the same time as I base this one, and I will base them both on the same day so that that is ready to go. So I'm ready for, those will be ready for my second half of February for the UFO focus on UFOs. Plus, I have the little table runner done, that I did with our block this week from How Tall Am I from the Home Is. So this is the bonus layout that comes in your pattern. I ended up adding one more. To it. I don't think I showed you this already, did I? If I did, sorry, you're seeing it again. So now it's ready to quilt. And I have to decide, do I want to add some little shamrocks to it or just leave it like this? This is long enough for my coffee table. If I had done these two shorter, it's a nice for my round dining room table, because I put one down, just sort of like centered like that down the dining room table. So I have another thing for that though. I'm going to change things out to green at some point. So that was fun. I liked doing that. I could see a whole quilt. I could see a whole quilt like this, where you just have use up all these little scraps, and you could use, whatever solid that you really want the quilt to read. Let's say you want a light blue quilt. Well, then you could do all the scrappy little dots in all different blue fabrics. One of our friends I saw made white with little pink dots for a table runner like this. So it will use mostly solid, so whatever your background fabric is. But it is fun. It is a fun way to use up some squares and just build an easy to make quilt. The block is so easy, and the table runner went together so fast. I cut it all first, and then I was able to, while I was doing some other projects, sew them in between. So I would sew some of that, sew the table runner, just go back and forth and sew the units, keeping track. And that worked really well. I didn't lose track, and they were easy to chain piece. Like the center part is, these squares. I could just, do two, and do a whole bunch of them, and then they were all done. was it? Oh, I also, in between, I got another block done. Did I show you this? I got another block done from the all these blue ones. Let me, I don't know, I might be losing my mind. I'm doing so many of these now, I might forget. I try to keep track, but I might forget and show you stuff again. So there's all the blocks I have so far from the warmest spot of the home is that particular block. These are going to be so great. Going to be one whole quilt. Now I got in, I have a lot of fat quarters because I get some of the clubs. And I want to show you this one club. This is a Ruby Society club, which means from the fat quarter shop. So it comes with a spool of thread, and then they have a pattern that comes with the club so that you could, use these fat quarters. But I tend to just put them into my collection so that I can use them with whatever I'm working on. So here we go. I want to show you what came in this month because I haven't even looked at it yet. Oh, these are nuts, peanuts and nuts, walnuts, shells, pistachios. These are pistachios. So that's so funny. I love novelty prints. I'm just crazy about them. So let me just pull. I don't know which collections. It's a sampler bundle that they coordinate from Ruby Society's line. So they're not all the same line. They're from several lines. This is really pretty. They're just like geometric vases, and then the leaves. I know this one is the Florida. So this one is from the Florida group because I put that in my Florida quilt, which is my Florida quilt is at the spa right now. Yes, that's good. Getting quilted. This is a pretty gray with the gold. I'm kind of liking the gold accents. Oh, I didn't see this line. That's gorgeous. Love. It feels sort of a little bit indigo, the color of the navy. There's another one from the Florida line with a super cute manatee. Okay, come on, fingers. Geometric. It's a nice geometric. That's a really great piece of fabric. The beautiful pink floral. And okay, another pink with smaller scale pink. These are just a little bit different shade of pink. And then these gorgeous birds in pink. And then a peach. What are these? Oh my gosh, they're toothbrushes. That is so funny. Look at this salvage. Do you collect the edges to make a quilt with them? Look at this. It's got like a candy, a little clock. There's toothpaste, an apple, a diamond. I'll have to go look up what this whole line is supposed to be about. What knots? So, goofy. But I like that. I like adding in those little touches like that to a project because they just make it unique and make it you. And you can tailor things for the people that you're giving the quilt to. I always find that's a lot of fun. All right, my friend. First, go and get all of these random low spools, collect them up, and use them so that you get rid of them in your space. And if you need to reorder that color or any other color you're low on this weekend, reorder your threads so that you don't, because things still take a little while to get to you. So you don't want to be stuck without your thread. Links are down below. While you're there, click the subscribe so that we can, be friends. So that you can find me again when you need to. And I love you. I'll see you online. Mwah.